Most likely, when the teams for the college football playoff are settled this weekend, Texas is going to get left out, and rightfully so. And there has been an unforeseen consequence of these SEC schools getting left out of the college football playoff, the Texases, the Alabamas of the world. And that is their head coaches in their universities becoming so unbelievably annoying. That has been the consequence. Today, I really want to talk about maybe specifically more Texas's case, because Alabama getting left out last year, we saw them lose, hit a bowl game to Michigan, like a very bad Michigan team. So everything was proven right in time with that. The reaction tends to always follow the same sort of format of, hey, I'm an SEC school, so my schedule is tougher than everybody else's. I promise you it is. And because of that, I am not going to play in tough non-conference games anymore because that's not fair and I don't want to, because you're not giving me everything I want. That's not fair. I'm not playing tough teams anymore. But before we get to that, if you're new here, I'm Lucy. Welcome to my channel. We talk about college football and other things. I hope you'll subscribe because we're chatting ball all the way through the rest of time. Hopefully. Specifically this last week, you've seen sort of the pity party of all pity parties that Steve Sarkisian is throwing himself, head coach of the University of Texas, where he's come out on his radio show, and in his press conference with Texas going, we are not scheduling tough non-conference teams anymore because we are not making the playoff because we have been punished for losing to Ohio State week 1. Well, let me do the math on that. My calculator says you lost to 4-8 Florida. That's what my calculator is saying. I don't know if that was a good bit or not. We'll see. That is why Texas is not making the playoff. You lost to 4-8 Florida, not because you lost to Ohio State. And the argument Sark is making is if we were 10-2 and had not played Ohio State, then we would be in the playoff. And I don't necessarily know if that's theoretically true. I saw how Texas's non-conference games went. They did not look good. Texas has looked bad for most of the season. I don't even think that just that 4-8 loss for Florida is what's hurting Tech. It's needing a major comeback against Mississippi State to win that game. It's needing multiple overtimes against Kentucky. It is having a season where you've looked bad for a good chunk of it, and there have been bright moments. I don't want to take away from the fact that, yes, Texas has a lot of good wins. You beat Oklahoma, which I'm going to put an asterisk there because John Mateer was not healthy. It's a weird rivalry game. People who know me know that I do not count Red River in the normal scale of time. I think that happens in an alternate universe and a multiverse. It is just different than the rest of the college football schedule. And then the sort of same thing with Texas A&M, where that's a rivalry game. Things play into that a little bit differently, but an impressive win on that part. I really don't want to take away from that. But you lost to 4-8 Florida. That's not, you lost to 4-8 Florida. You put yourself in that position. And the flip side of this argument is, let's just say that Sark's play calling against Ohio State was not horrendous and they would have won that game. Because in my opinion, that's what that game came down to. Sark not calling anything worth a damn. You now have all the wiggle room in the world to lose to 4-8 Florida. You have the wiggle room to struggle against Kentucky and Mississippi State because you have such a good win. Because you scheduled a tough non-conference game. And let's just take out the logistics of making the playoff and not making the playoff. You should want your team to play in tough games, especially if you're the University of Texas. Let's just say that we replace Texas with Baylor. Exact same season, but it's Baylor's logo and Baylor's colors and Baylor's weird little this thing that they do. They would not even be in the conversation for making it to the playoff. Baylor would not have the luxury of that. And if you want to look at a different example from the SEC, you can look at Oklahoma, who has 2 losses to Ole Miss and Texas. And the reason that they are firmly in the playoff is because they went out and they scheduled a tough non-conference game against Michigan, and they won that. You look at Miami with 2 in-conference losses as well. The only reason that they are still in the conversation for the college football playoff is because they scheduled tough non-conference games and they won those. That's the risk when you schedule a tough non-conference game. You're going to win it or you're going to lose it. Either way, it helps you. The committee loves telling you how much they value close losses. And for this to be framed as like a uniquely SEC thing, like you have to be playing a team in another conference for it to be a non-conference game. And so you don't see Michigan throwing a fit saying, you know what, maybe if we hadn't played that Oklahoma game, we would be in the playoff right now. Because they're not, because they lost games. Like Texas lost games. There's a clear and simple solution to make the college football playoff, and it's winning games. And I know this as a fan of a team that did not win their games, and they will not be in the college football playoff. I do think that there are a lot of issues wrong with the college football playoff and the selection committee and what they value and what they don't and how they value things. But Texas losing to Ohio State did nothing bad for Texas. Texas, if they had replaced that game, they still would have lost to Florida. Most likely, they could have lost another game, too, because it's a good learning lesson to play Ohio State. And I don't think that SEC head coaches and SEC universities like Texas and Alabama coming out and saying we're holding your good non-conference games hostage unless we get what we want is good for this sport. If you liked this video, please like, comment, subscribe. Texas fans might not like it, Sark might not like it, but the rest of you could.